I'm Clover Pfaff, Teen Miss Tennessee Earth.
And I'm Gracie Pfaff, Miss Tennessee Earth. And this is
our
our interview with the Pageant Project.
Good evening, everyone. It's Adrian from the Pageant Project, and I have two special guests today. I have Gracie on the left, Gracie Pfaff, who is a familiar face, who is Miss Tennessee Earth, and to her left, but to our right, is Clover Pfaff, who is Teen Miss Tennessee Earth. Well, Pfaffs, welcome to the show. How are you both?
Thank you. Thank you for having us. We're good. We're excited.
Thanks.
We're ready.
Very excited. Thank you.
Now, Clover, I've already forewarned. Do you want to do the entire interview with doing your impersonation of Gracie? Or,
I joked that we should be each other, but I don't think her impression of me is good enough for that.
I'm working on it.
Just to clarify, so I asked Clover what the secret to doing a Gracie Pfaff impersonation was, and what did you say, Clover?
Being the nicest you can possibly be. She is by far the nicest person I've ever met.
Aw.
Okay, so now the other way around. So, Gracie, what's the secret to doing a Clover impersonation? Is it being less nice than usual?
And not necessarily being less nice, but being slightly wittier. She's always got that comeback ready to go. She's super funny all the time, and she's so smart. So really just tapping into those qualities.
There you go. We're going to make everyone home at sick as how nice you guys are to one another. So, what is it like? So, for those of you watching who may not know, these two are sisters. If it's not immediately obvious, I mean, they share the same surname. That's not a coincidence. What is it like when you two? I got to imagine you spend quite a lot of time together. Now,
Oh, yeah.
I've worked with siblings before. I have siblings. I get on very well with mine. I've never really argued because I just think that's a waste of time. But I know some siblings who cannot stand each other. Like if they're in the same room for 5 minutes, the house is burning down, kind of thing. So, what is it like when you two are together?
I'm gonna let you start.
We do get along very well
Yeah.
behind the scenes. We rarely bicker. We just joke around a ton. We can get pretty goofy.
I think also because we're 8 years apart, she had time to like live and grow before I came in to her life. But yeah.
Yeah, so we could each appreciate each other for our similarities and our differences.
So, is it very loud when you two are
Yes.
together? Okay. All right. Now I'm beginning to feel sorry for your parents. So what is it like when you two are around together? Like, is there lots of jokes? Is it because I mean, given that you're both entering the pageant, obviously, which is in two months, if that. So is it like you guys can focus together and get a lot of stuff done together? Is it that you're always crazy, lots of laughing? Like, what is it like? Is it like a whirlwind? I have no idea.
I think it's a mix of both.
Oh, for
We
sure.
definitely can get a lot done, but there's probably going to be jokes involved either way. I think it's my ADHD a little bit, but she loves me for it, so it's okay.
Oh, I do love it. It makes conversation so much more interesting. But yeah, and our mom gets involved too. Like she loves helping us brainstorm content ideas and helping us prepare. So the three of us is just the Pfaff girls brainstorming, having fun. And yeah, we get some good jokes out of it. We get a lot done. It's a fun dynamic for sure.
So now I just feel sorry for your dad. 'Cause your mom just- how does your dad deal with this craziness?
Oh, he loves it. He comes
yeah.
in and jokes around. He can just hop right in with it. So we all have fun with it.
Okay, fair enough. Now, I think most people watching, I won't assume this, but a lot of people will be familiar with Gracie, your story as to how you got involved in pageantry. Obviously, you have a title currently standing, Miss Earth USA Eco. I hope I'm getting that in the right order. Sometimes I forget which words to put first. But obviously, you competed last year, did very,
Yeah.
very well. So we'll circle to you in a second, but let's start with the younger Pfaff. Now, most people would assume that, oh, because Gracie entered the pageant and she did pretty well, she just sort of eventually convinced you to enter the pageant as well. But I don't know if that's the story. So, how did you get involved in pageantry? What made you decide, yep, I'm going to follow in my sister's footsteps, so to speak?
Well, it actually was kind of following in her footsteps, but a few years ago, I was about 11 maybe, and I decided that I wanted to do like those preteen pageants and see if it was something I was into. So I did two, and I made top 10, but I felt like the system wasn't right for me. I didn't feel aligned with it. So I took a little bit of a break, and that was when Gracie competed in Miss Earth USA for the first time. And she couldn't stop talking about how nice everyone was. And I watched it and I was like, this looks like fun. Like I could get into this for sure. And I was finally old enough to do a teen pageant. So I was like, why not? If we can be sister queens and sisters, nothing is better, right? But
I guess it depends on the sister in question. As I said, I know some sisters who would definitely voice it differently. But Clover, how old are you now? If you
I'm 14. I turned 15 on December 31st at finals of pageant, actually.
December, what a birthday to have. I've heard of some people having birthdays on Christmas Day, some people having birthdays on New Year's, December 30. So does that mean, because I ask people this all the time, like if you have a birthday at a very weird, on a special day, do you get, like, because you're celebrating New Year's Eve, for example, so do you get to celebrate both at the same time equally, or do you sometimes feel like your birthday is overlooked because everyone is celebrating New Year's Eve anyway, or how does that work?
Not at all. My mom's birthday is actually the day before mine. So
Oh,
so it's Christmas, then her birthday, then my birthday. So it's a fun week for sure. I've never felt overshadowed at all. My family's always made me feel really special on my birthday, and I can feel like my birthday takes a while to get here, though. Not gonna lie.
I only asked how old you were because you don't speak like most 14-year-olds that I've met. And I mean that in a good way. Like you can
Thank
actually
you.
speak without the likes and the ums and the yos. And it's, I mean, although in America, I will say that that's more prevalent than probably in Australia. But Gracie, I'm now remembering that back on Clover's birthday last year, you put up like a TikTok or something asking for people who were around Clover's age, weren't you? Because apparently all the
I
friends who were
forgot
coming
about
were
that.
like adults. I didn't forget about it because
Yeah.
I thought it was a weird thing to do to go on social media and ask for young people.
That was so funny. We were talking about her birthday in the car, and we were talking about throwing a birthday party for her. And we were going through our potential guest list. And I was like, there's an odd amount of adults on this list. Like, there's no one your age on here. Let's just recruit on social media.
And how did the recruitment go?
It was really, we got some really funny
Really nice
responses.
people, but we decided to have a chill birthday instead. But
She was like, I don't need a
Okay,
big party. We're good. We're good. Thanks,
right.
TikTok.
Okay, so it went so well that we're not doing it again, basically, is what you're saying. Um,
yeah.
but Clover, I just want to circle back to you for a sec. So you entered Miss Earth USA or Teen Miss Earth USA, and your like the career that you intend to pursue. I remember reading it. I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Is it an ichthyologist?
Yes, it is an ichthyologist.
Okay, so first question, first thing I want to say, I didn't know what that meant, so I had to look it up. I kind of knew because I was really into dinosaurs, and I knew an ichthyosaurus, I think, was a marine dinosaur. Um, but the other thing that so how did you get into that, or what makes you want to be that? But also, can you just explain what the difference between that and a marine biologist is, or are they the same thing?
So an ichthyologist is the study of fish, whereas a marine biologist is all living
Oh,
creatures. I would
right.
like to pursue both and get a PhD in both marine biology and ichthyology if possible. I would like to one day open my own marine research lab, specializing in shark behavioral analysis. So I think it would be helpful to have both and get a wider range of education. But I really got into it when I was 3 or 4, I think, because I was reading a book about sharks and I was like, this is so cool. I like this. And I just kept reading and I got so fascinated with it. I watched every documentary and read every book by the time I was like 7. But I just decided that this is what I wanted to do. I want to research and protect marine life. and I recently got scuba certified. So I got to see, yeah, I got to see some really cool creatures up close, and I think it just reignited that passion for me. So yeah.
Okay, I don't understand what's going on here. So it was already bad enough speaking to Gracie, who started her nonprofit at what was like 12 or 13. Now at the age of 14, you have this career path sorted out where you're planning on becoming a PhD, and you said it started at the age of 3 or 4. I don't know how often you hang around people your age, Clover, but most people, I have a nephew who's like 8. I promise you, at the age of 3 to 4, he wasn't reading books and working out what he wanted to do with his life. And most 14-year-olds are just talking about boys and, you know, the latest movie and complaining how they don't have the latest iPhone. So can one of you please tell me what is happening in your household? Like you like skipped 10 years of life where basically you just don't do anything, and you've gone straight into nonprofit and PhDs. Like what's going on?
One thing for me though was that our parents always said that we could be anything we put our mind to. And I think Clover and I both really took that seriously, whereas a lot of other people might take that as a cliche. We
Mm.
truly believed what we were being told, and we were encouraged to have this hunger for knowledge. And that's especially where Clover came in. Is She just wanted to learn as much as quickly as she could. Yeah.
So Clover, just before I circle around to Gracie, I'm sure you, because you also mentioned ADHD, and I potentially have a
Yes.
recent ADHD diagnosis myself. So if you're anything like me, I was a voracious reader at a very early age. I was reading, 800-page books when everyone else was out, in being a child, basically. But what are some of the weird things or the fun facts that people may not know? For example, about sharks not being a fish, as an example. But what are some of the weird facts that you might know that you can just pull out at the drop of a hat?
Ooh. Well, it's not a fact, but I can name over 40 species of shark. So, fun fact about me, I guess. Um, See, I feel like sharks are very well known. Like I feel like you can know a lot about
Mm.
them pretty easily. Their skin is extremely thick. Like the skin of a whale shark is about 4 inches thick. And this isn't a shark, but there is a jellyfish called the immortal jellyfish. And once it gets to a certain stage in its life, its cells actually revert to a younger version, so it can pretty much live forever. And I've always been
Yeah.
fascinated by that.
I remember you telling me
I
about that.
I heard about that jellyfish, and it because there was a TV show that took that jellyfish. I can't remember where it was. It was like a weird sci-fi one, and it took that specific jellyfish, and there was this mad scientist who was trying to reverse engineer it to help humans live forever. It didn't end well,
Oh.
by the way. But I have heard of that jellyfish, which is really really bizarre. So Clover, just remind me: have you swum with sharks? I mean, you got your scuba cert now. So have you swum with sharks, or was that the plan to swim with sharks?
Not intentionally. I would like to swim with sharks, but I have swum with sharks not consciously. Um,
You went
I
asleep and then happened to be sleep swimming with sharks. What happened?
I I love to surf. I surf less now than I used to, just because I'm busy. But I was surfing with my dad once, and I felt something under my leg, and I look back, and I accidentally kicked a bull shark, like a big one. Um, and then
Oh my God.
and that's happened a few times. Like I've had a few encounters. And then on my first open water scuba certification dive, there was a nurse shark. So
They're just saying hi.
yeah, we're
These
besties.
are not known as like the friendliest creatures to human beings on the earth. They both take a chunk out of you. Do you make it a point to go around kicking sharks? How
It
deep was the
wasn't that.
water that you managed to kick a shark? Because it can't be that deep if you were walking
Um,
around.
well, I was surfing, so it was probably like I want to say probably 3 meters deep, maybe a little more, maybe a little less.
It's
But
pretty deep.
Okay.
yeah,
I,
yeah.
I can tell you most of the pageant girls, most of the girls, a lot of guys that I know, if they had kicked a bull shark in the water, would never be going in the water again, probably myself included. Okay, so we've learned a little bit about Clover. Gracie, do you want to give us the short version, bring us up to speed with who you are, obviously your amazing nonprofit work, but why don't you catch us up with everything that's been going on? Because it looks like you've been flying around. It's Forbes 30 under 30, which again, you guys are not normal. I don't know what's going on. But if your parents could somehow encapsulate that and sell that to other parents, I'm sure there'll be a market for it. But Gracie, go ahead.
Start another nonprofit.
Business idea.
Yeah, so I'm Gracie, and I was never one of those people who wanted to be just one thing in life. I wanted to follow all of my passions, and so I'm a nonprofit founder. It's called Harvest 107, and our whole mission is preventing hunger and malnutrition through sustainable agriculture. And as you just heard, I was at the Forbes Under 30 conference. I have been nominated twice, so I'm hoping to make that list finally in social impact, which is an incredible achievement. I'm really just grateful even to be a nominee. But I also do digital marketing. So basically, I help brands show the online world what they have to offer. I do public speaking, and I'm a part-time model. And of course, pageant girl too.
And what made you decide to come back and compete again for Miss Earth USA? And I say that obviously you had a good time and it's a reputable system, but also it's not like, even from talking to Clover, it's not like you two like have a lot of spare time sitting around doing nothing. So it's not like, well, I got nothing else going on, I'll go do a pageant. Obviously you got other demands on your time. So why did you decide, no, I'm going to enter it again?
First and foremost, I loved the organization and all the people involved with it. I felt like I really aligned with their values and wanted to come back. But also, I think one thing about Clover and I is that we didn't enter a pageant and then figure out a platform afterwards. We came in with a platform that we were already doing the job. We just want to be able to do it on a wider scale, and being able to reach people in different communities all over the US and internationally is something that's really important to me in advocating for our environment.
What's it like, a conversation in your family? I mean, it's not like, I don't know, maybe you just talk about the normal stuff that other people talk about, like reality TV or social. I don't know who's
Sometimes.
blowing up on TikTok, but it sounds like between all of you, you must have so much diverse information that sometimes you have like pretty deep and meaningful conversations. Am I
Oh,
right?
we
Or is it
do.
completely the opposite?
We can go from joking around to having a 30-minute in-depth conversation about climate change. It's one polar opposite to another, which makes it fun because it feels effortless and it's just an open environment where we can talk about whatever, whenever, and we can really just get those, thought-provoking questions and conversations. And, it makes us inspired to keep doing what we're doing, keeps all of us motivated, and it inspires us, for especially content with uh,
Mm.
our platform as pageant title holders, is that we just went to Target the other day and we wanted to showcase sustainable products and eco-friendly products you can use, because that's something that's important to us as a family, but also it's important for our planet as well. And so being able to have that space where we can talk about that is really important.
What is it, guys? What is it for you, like creating content? Because I got to imagine normally you got to rope someone into holding the phone for you, or you have to hold it yourself. But it must be very handy for you two to both be competing in the same pageant and literally,
It
and you
is.
both know how to do it. So you just like hold my camera, shoot, and like vice versa. That's pretty handy, right?
Our Starbucks visit.
Yeah, she's my living tripod.
That's
I have the long
I'm
arms for it.
I'm beginning to get all these nicknames for Gracie. I mean, because Danielle just says Gracie is the most allergic person that she knows.
She
So she's
is.
the
I've
most
been
allergic
using
person.
that too.
She is.
Now she's
When
the
I
human
when I
tripod.
do her makeup, I have a whole kit of products that are aluminum free for her, and I put like a little piece of biodegradable masking tape or something on the product so that I know what she can and can't use.
It comes in handy when I go to steal her product.
Maybe I need to stop and just memorize everything.
But yeah, creating content's a lot of fun. I left for Forbes about a week ago now, and my flight left in the afternoon. So all morning we went out and just batch created content, and so we had a lot of fun, quality time together. But we also created a lot of big, fun, and meaningful content.
Yeah.
And I saw the Starbucks content, and Clover, you went into Starbucks. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm going to ask more about that, but do you have the same problem that I do in Starbucks and everyone else seems to have? They can never spell your name right. Like Starbucks is famous. Whenever they write the name on a cup, they always get it hilariously wrong. I almost think it's on purpose. But do they get your name right?
Most of the time they do get my name right. Yeah, but I have gotten like Chloe a couple times and things like that. But yeah, 9 times out of 10, they spell my name right. So
Lucky.
Okay. Yeah, that's that. But how do you know? I don't know if you know. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Why your parents chose the name Clover? Because I have to say, in all the times I've been interviewing hundreds of pageant women, but before that, I was working as a tennis coach at a girls' school, literally working with thousands of girls. I think you were the first Clover I've ever met. So, is there a story as to you
I
pointing
came
to
up
your
with the
nice
name
sister?
Clover.
How?
I was 7 years old, and my mom was pregnant, and we were going over baby names, the three of us, and she had just found out that it was a girl, and so she was like, she's like, we gotta scrap all the boy names now. And she was like, so let's start getting into, let's really hyper focus on it. And they just went back and forth, and we were just sitting on my bed, and it was right before I was about to fall asleep, and I was like, what about Clover? And both of my parents were like, "Oh, we really like that. Let's think about it." I mean, ultimately, it was their decision, but I threw it out there.
So she named you. Okay. So have you ever had a conversation, Clover, where you told her that you wish she picked a different name, or are you happy with Clover? I mean, it's certainly an original one.
I used to really dislike it, but as I've gotten older,
Okay.
I've grown. As I've gotten older, I've grown to really love it. People don't get my name wrong at Starbucks, and and I like it. I think it's beautiful.
And it's
So
a flower, so
yeah,
adds to the beauty of you.
thank you.
Great. So you seem to be good at naming things. So you named your sister, you named your nonprofit after a verse in the Bible. So anytime anyone comes up, needs a name, I think you're the person to hit up, right?
I've got you covered.
Can I just ask, are you currently both homeschooled?
I was homeschooled most of my education. I went to public school for the first 3 or 4 years, and then
Mm,
after that, I was homeschooled. There was a year I was homeschooled for a year, and then took a break, went to, I guess, typical in-person
yeah.
school, and then I begged my mom to homeschool me again, and then the rest is history.
Yeah, I
Okay.
am and always have been homeschooled. I've never stepped foot in a regular school. I spent 3 days in preschool, decided it wasn't for me, and I've been homeschooled ever since. It's really nice because I'm a grade ahead, so it's it's easier for me to get ahead, and it's
Mm,
also really great for a busy schedule
Mhm.
because
yeah.
between pageantry and school, and I'm getting certified as a makeup artist, so I have a lot going on, and it's really nice to be able to say, okay, well, I have this, this, and this today, so I'll double up on school tomorrow and not have to worry about
Mm.
missing a day of school or whatnot.
Can we just back up to the statement where you said I spent 3 or 4 days in preschool and decided it wasn't for me? Now once again, that's not a very usual. That's not a statement I hear very often. But did you actually decide it wasn't for you? Did your parents decide it wasn't for you? Did your teachers decide? Like, what happened that you went, nah, this preschool thing, it's so last year. I'm not doing it anymore. What happened?
So I begged my mom to go to preschool, and she was like, "Okay." And she went and she was like, "I'll sign up for like a week or month, but I'm telling you, she's not gonna want to stay in this. Like, I know her, she's not gonna want to." And so they were like, "Okay, you can sign up for a month." So I go, and I hated it. There was always a kid who stole the tricycle I wanted to use or something. I convinced everyone that the veins on the inside of my arm were blue because I was bitten by a shark. Everybody believed it. I knew it wasn't true, but they didn't. And they had nap time, and I stopped napping a long time ago. And
She was
so
not a napper as an
and
infant.
they wouldn't let me like play a game or read or anything. And so I sat with a piece of paper and a pencil and I practiced writing my R's because I didn't like the way they looked. And I just did that over and over again. And then once I solved that mystery, I just got really bored. So I made my mom take me out of preschool.
She was like, "Please, mom, I don't want to go back
It's
there."
like they nap.
It,
What are we, children?
you just remind me of a story that I have, and I this is the only thing I remember about preschool was we were given activities to do, and bear in mind it's preschool, right? So we were given like the top of a shoebox, a cardboard shoebox, right? So it's got a lid, and you got marbles, and you put them in paint, and then you put the marbles in the top of this shoebox, and you were supposed to roll them around and be wowed by the fact that, oh man, that they're making paint trails, right? And I remember sitting there thinking, and this is at probably the age that you were at when you were trying preschool. I remember sitting there thinking, this is just so stupid. And I got really bored. So I took the scissors and I started giving myself a haircut. And I cut a hole in my hair, the shape of an arch. And the teacher rung my parents, really worried that, I don't know, self-harm or something. It was like, no, I'm just so bored by this activity. Like, what's the point? It's complete. So I just started cutting my hair. So I have a certain amount of sympathy for you, but I also have a certain amount of sympathy as a teacher, like having to deal with someone who's so far ahead of the curve. But the reason I ask you guys is because, as I mentioned multiple times, like, you both are not normal people, and I mean that in the best sense of the word, for your age anyway. And I always think the best people in the world, the people who make the biggest difference, always strike you as not being quite ordinary. But I just want to ask you, obviously you identified your parents as a huge reason for that, but also the homeschooling, because I've interviewed teachers. I know you know Michaela, for example, Michaela Jolie, and she's a teacher. And every time I interview a teacher, we both express our frustration at the education system. Now, I don't particularly just mean American, but Western education systems are here in Australia, in the UK. And there always seems to be that it's not working so well, and there's too much emphasis on standardized testing, and there's not recognition, for example, in Clover's case, of someone who's a little bit different and could be pushed ahead. But, oh no, we've got to hold her back because that's what we've been told to do. So how important do you guys think that being homeschooled, to the degree that you both are, was in allowing you to develop your personalities, but also to allow you to develop yourselves fully? Like, do you both think that you would still be where you are now with the same aspirations and ambitions, establish a nonprofit, for example? Do you think that would have happened if you had gone to a traditional school?
I know for myself, I definitely would not be, because without my first seventh grade project, Harvest 107 would not exist. I probably wouldn't have read that book, and I wouldn't have been inspired to learn about hunger and malnutrition. That probably would have come a lot later in life. Not to
Hmm.
say that Harvest 107 would have never happened, or some concept of it, but it definitely wouldn't be what it is today. And we definitely would not be turning 10 years old this year.
Yeah, I don't think I would have any of the same aspirations if I went to school. I Having ADHD and
Mm.
anxiety, I don't think I would have been able to thrive in that environment. Whereas being homeschooled, I can get up, do jumping jacks, walk around, whatever I need to do to be focused. And I have met people with ADHD in school, and they're like, it's terrible. I can't get up, I can't
Mm.
do anything. And so I don't think that I would be the person I am today if I had been homeschooled.
Right. Can I just ask about the ADHD? Because, as I said, I've got a potential recent diagnosis myself. How does it manifest for you? And, like, how did you get diagnosed? Like, how did you first go, okay, maybe my brain works differently? Because for me, that's literally what it feels like. But it's very difficult when your brain is your brain to actually understand. Actually, no, my brain, it doesn't seem to work the same way that other people think, but you just assume it is because it's your brain. So what has your experience, Clover, with ADHD been like?
I think I knew that I was probably going to have it. My dad has really bad ADHD, and so does my aunt and other people in my family. So I come by it honest for sure. But I, my mom was like, "You definitely have ADHD. It takes you 20 minutes to read, and you're a super fast reader because you have to keep reading the same paragraph over and over again. Like, you definitely have ADHD." And I was like, "Yeah, I think you're right. Maybe I should get tested." And I actually only got officially tested earlier this year.
Hmm.
And so I did an online testing, and then I had a Zoom call with the doctor. They prescribed me Ritalin, and it's worked great. But yeah, I think it's also harder to diagnose when you have anxiety like I do.
Mm.
Because when I was on the call with my doctor, they were like, "You definitely have ADHD, but it actually took us longer to like fully discover because you do have a lot of generalized anxiety symptoms, and those can also manifest in people with ADHD."
Mm.
So Yeah, but I I kind of love having ADHD. I think it makes me really cool, and
It does.
and the Ritalin is great for school, but I don't take it as often as I should.
I I was speaking to a friend of mine who's a medical student. She's the one that told me you probably just from the way I was speaking, it's like, yeah, you probably have ADHD as well. I was like, thanks. But she did mention that very often ADHD and anxiety will coexist in the same person to some extent because the anxiety helps mask the problems that you deal with having ADHD. So, for example, ADHD, difficult to focus, you don't get things done. So the anxiety kicks in, and when you're anxious, then you finally do it. It's like I'll cram like what I did. I crammed for a whole semester, 14 weeks worth of work in one night. When eventually you need to do it, then the
You
anxiety
did
kicks
that.
in. Yeah, but can I just ask with the Ritalin? Because another thing that one of my friends who has ADHD said, I can either choose between being my fabulous self but having a lot of issues getting things done, or I go on the Ritalin and I can get things done, but I'm really boring. Like,
Yeah.
and I lose who I am. Like, did you find? And I ask this because I'm thinking about going down that route as well. But with medication, I'm always a bit antsy, especially if it's going to affect my brain. So, can I just ask, what was your experience like? Was it like, oh, I can either choose between having a personality or actually getting things done? Like, was that your experience?
Kind of. I definitely still have personality on the Ritalin. I'm just not as crazy fun. Um, I definitely noticed that it tamps down my creativity a little bit. So if I know I'm gonna
Right.
be doing something creative or doing an interview or answering questions, I don't take it. But when it comes to when I need to focus, like doing schoolwork or filling out paperwork, things like that, I do definitely take it. Um, but yeah, it tamps down your personality a little bit, and
Mm,
I think it kind of puts like a rag on that creativity a little bit, which
mm,
is why it can alter a little bit. But I like it.
yeah. It's a bit of a shame in a way because it's like you have to pick one of the pick the lesser evil. I think because ADHD people,
Yep.
from what I've seen, they always have a very, let's say, exciting personality. I mean, it can be a bit like an exploding volcano at times, but you're never bored, that's for sure. And it kind of like they bring life to a room, and
Oh
sometimes
yeah.
to think that you have to tamp that down in order to be able to exist in the world the way it is, I feel it's a kind of a bit of a shame. But what's it been like? So you guys have the pageant. So when's the pageant being held? Because last year it was held over New Year's. So is it going to be the same this year, like late December?
It's going to be late December, so it's in Orlando, Florida from December 27th through the 31st. So finals is
Right.
on New Year's Eve, which is really exciting because then it's going to be a huge birthday party for this one. And hopefully just a great night of celebration. We're excited.
How has prep been like, Gracie, this time around? Given that your little sis is going with you, have you been able to, impart your wisdom, or has she been surprising you and giving you wisdom, even though she's not competed in this system before? What's it been like?
Oh, definitely both. I'm really grateful this time around because I have more time to prepare. If you
Mm,
remember last year, I only had 6 weeks to prepare for a national competition. So it was a lot shoved into a very short period of time. Whereas now I can spread it out a little bit. I can relax. I can take my time with prep and really put every ounce of me and my vision into it, which is really exciting. And also going into it with my sister, I have a built in support system there. So we can help each other, let each other know when, hey, you look like you're feeling a little anxious. What can I do to help? And
mm.
vice versa. It's nice to just have someone there who understands what it's like to be prepping for a competition like this.
Clover, will you be painting your sister's face?
Yeah.
I would love to, but unfortunately, all of my things are before hers. So while I'll be at rehearsals or competition, she'll be having to do her own
I told
makeup.
her I wasn't gonna wake up at 3 a.m. for her to do my
I
makeup.
was like, I'll
I
do
said I'll
it.
learn. You
I'll
can
do
we can do a
it. It's
lesson.
okay. I'll do it.
She has ADHD. She's probably, well, like that's her wake up. Like that's the middle of the afternoon, 3 a.m. for her. If you're like anything like us, it's like, yeah, 1 a.m. Yeah, I'm still wide awake. What are you doing? It's like, oh my god. Um, but Clover, what has pageant prep been like for yourself? So it's not your first pageant, as you said. So you've taken a bit of a break, and obviously you've got Gracie, who's been through the system before. So run us through what your pageant prep has looked like.
I like to call it my first big girl pageant because I'm doing a lot of things that I haven't done before. Like, for instance, fitness. never done it before. So a little anxious, but very excited. I feel like it's going to be a better experience overall. I align best with the organization, and I'm really excited to compete. I have this excited anxiousness about it that I've never had before. But having Gracie to prep with is amazing
Mhm.
because we're both prepping, but in different ways, and she can help me and I can help her. Me and my mom do interview prep like all the time, every week or every day.
Yeah, you were doing it every
And
day for a while.
yeah, and she's always there to give feedback and help me a little bit. And I really appreciate it because
Mhm.
going into a system I've never been in can be a little scary, but having someone who's been through it and is can be very similar to me has been really, really helpful because I get to know what to expect and go into it with my built-in best friend.
Oh,
I just love how much you two love each other. It's just, I don't think I've ever met two sisters who get on so well with one another, and you're literally finishing each other's sentences. It's going to end up with diabetes by the end of this relationship. I'm getting through this. But just Clover, just for a sec, like interview prep. What's the most challenging part with interview prep with yourself? Because for a lot of people that I work with, it's like being able to speak, not to not to dismiss it, but like just being able to speak, express your thoughts, form it into one coherent sentence. That's a real difficulty. I'm having difficulty believing that that would be much of a challenge for you. I have to imagine that your bigger difficulty would be stop within 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's it for sure. It's can be hard for me to I kind of bounce between topics sometimes, so
Yeah.
trying to stay on one path and having my key talking points. I
Mm.
have gotten a lot better with it. Um, my mom and my coach and everybody's helped me with that a lot. But another big thing that I struggle with sometimes is not pausing before I start talking, and I'll just start going with an answer. And sometimes it's really good. Sometimes it's really bad. So finding the balance of thinking out what I'm gonna say and then saying it. But the good thing about having ADHD with interview is I can think while I'm talking. So I get to think about what I'm gonna say
that's quite the
as
advantage there.
I'm talking.
Don't you find that like it's a bit of a hidden it's a double-edged sword though,
Mhm,
because I had that same, like, I'll be talking to someone, I'm literally thinking what I'm going to say after this,
mhm.
but then doesn't, like, and your mouth can't quite keep up with your brain. Like your brain has gone 5 stops down the stage, like the line, so to speak, and your mouth is still stuck trying to say what you said before, and sometimes you forget what you're speaking about. And then sometimes, at least with me, like you have so many things you want to say, and your brain is just like this, and so nothing's actually coming out of your mouth. Like, is that just me, or do you
I
have the
get that
same
a lot.
struggles? You have that as well. Okay, so it's not just me. That's good to know.
No, my brain definitely moves at 90 miles an hour and my mouth more like 5. But I kind of like it because I can always be thinking ahead of what I
Yeah.
need to say next. I'll sometimes sometimes I'll be like writing something or reading and I will be completely in my own world in my head, but I'll still comprehend everything that I've written or read and it comes out very coherent. But in my head, I'm like listening to music or thinking about what I want to eat for lunch.
She expresses
I,
herself. It's really funny.
I get the feeling that you'll have your PhD probably by the end of next year, right? I mean, at this rate, no sweat, moving on to bigger and better things. Uh, yeah, it can be pretty scary, I think, for other people to hear the different ways sometimes an ADHD brain works. Because as I said, my difficulty was actually understanding and accepting that other people's, like the majority of people's brains don't actually work the way that mine does.
Mhm.
And I could never understand that. I would often have conversations like with my best friend. I play tennis with him every week, and he's just, as straight as they come, so to speak. And every time I will mention something that is a little bit weird, he'll say, like, why, like, how'd you think of that? Or like, why'd you think of that? And my response is always like, how could you not? Like, to me, it's like that inbuilt curiosity. You know what I mean? Like, you always
Yeah.
want to figure things out. You can't just accept, oh yeah, that's the way it is. Like, well, no, that's not good enough. But it's been a really interesting journey for myself. Um, Gracie, let me just circle around to you. So obviously, you competed last year, did super well.
Thank you.
So, are you dealing with any expectations yourself as to, well, elemental cord last year, anything less? is not good, or are we taking the journey one step at a time and just seeing it where it leads us?
I'm grateful for as far as I get in the process because I show up to the pageant knowing that I am who I am, with or without the crown. I'm already doing the work, I'm already trying to elevate
Mm.
it. And the title's a bonus. Of course, I would love to represent the US, of course, at Miss Earth, just being representative of all this country has to offer. But at the end of the day, I do know that I'm Gracie at the end of the day, and that's just fine.
Better than fine.
Clover, how often do you hear your sister describe herself as a go-getter? I feel that's her favorite word.
30 times a day. No.
No, 60 times a day.
A lot, but now she stopped saying it around me because I make fun of her for it.
I was doing interview prep one time. I think I posted the video. Well, maybe not.
Maybe
because you
not,
were
I don't
making
know.
fun of me pretty
I was.
hard. But I was practicing for interview. It was over a year ago, and it was like, "Tell me something to remember you by." And she asked me that, and I said, "Well, hello, I'm Gracie Pfaff, and I'm a go-getter. I do this, 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 and this." And she was like, "Oh, you're a go-getter? Is that what you are? A go-getter?" And she just like kept saying it. It was so funny. I was crying laughing.
That's not very helpful pageant prep, but it's very, very funny. I don't think you're going to have an interview with a judge that's going to make fun of you, but
That would, it'd be entertaining.
it would be.
be
So
memorable.
Clover, so Gracie is go-getter, so G and G. So Clover, what are you? Do you have something that you will spat out 30 times a day, or you haven't figured that out yet?
I don't have a tagline. I'm just
I have several.
I'm just wonderful. It's me.
Yes,
I'm
you
just
are.
Really,
You're
just
just-
really awesome.
You are
No.
truly Clover.
I think you need to come up with a tagline that you also can use 30 words a day, because I literally identified Gracie with go-getter because it's G and G. It's like the first thing I remember about Gracie is call me go-getter. That's the first words I heard from her.
we used to call Clover Clever Clover when she was really little. So maybe that's your tagline.
Well, it's definitely
Crazy
true.
It's catchy.
Which one would you rather, Clover? Crazy or clever?
Whatever. Crazy can be a good thing.
I completely agree. Okay, so let's have a little fun with this. Not that we haven't already, but when two people know each other very well, I always like to see just how far that goes. So I'm going to ask, like, Gracie, you some questions about Clover, and then I need Clover to say whether it's right or wrong, and we'll do vice versa, all right?
Okay.
Let's just see how this goes. All right, so Gracie, what is Clover's favorite color?
Oh, that's a trick question. She doesn't have one.
That's correct.
Okay, all right.
She appreciates them all.
Okay. Why did I think that was going to be the answer? Clover, vice versa. What's Gracie's favorite color?
Green. She likes lighter greens, like sage green, a lot too.
Okay.
She's got it. It's been my favorite color since I was 2. So
Mhm.
part of the
Have
reason
I
I
ever
want this Earth crown.
Green Gracie.
Have I ever seen you wearing a green outfit, Gracie?
Now that I
Like on the
think of it, I don't
stage, I
know.
mean. Like pageant-wise. It was
No.
red last year, wasn't it? The count?
It was red.
Yeah. Okay.
You
But
borrowed a
I
green
can't
dress
talk
from
about what's
some-
coming this year. It's got to be a surprise.
Of course you can't. It's a closely guarded state secret. Okay, Gracie, what is Clover's favorite type of music?
I would probably say pop or singer-songwriter.
Probably. Yeah, I also like classical music.
Yeah,
but
you do. She loves classical music when she studies,
Mhm.
Mhm.
but if we're just having fun in the car, top hits, maybe some singer-songwriter stuff.
Sometimes Christmas music.
Oh, yep, the Hallmark music.
I'm going to assume that is that only in the lead up to Christmas, or is that like in the middle of July? I feel like listening to Christmas music.
Christmas.
Hallmark has Christmas in July
Yep,
on
it's on the
Hallmark
channel.
channels, so I think that's our dog's favorite movies.
It is, but I think it's because it's my favorite movies. So they are just.
There's
taking
so
after
many
me.
good ones.
They really are. I was talking about that with
Yeah.
our grandma the other day.
Just to be clear, I think the dog has to watch what you're watching. I don't think the dog gets to change the channel unless your dogs
You'd be
are as far
surprised.
ahead of the curve as you guys are.
Well, sometimes
all
Blueberry
right.
will bark for me to change it, so she's interesting.
Your whole household sounds interesting to me, Clover. So Clover, same but reverse. So what is Gracie's favorite type of music?
Probably same pop singer-songwriter. She listens to country here and there,
Occasionally, yeah.
but
Gotta get those Tennessee
she's
vibes.
specific with her country. Like
I am. I'm very specific with my country. So I
What do you mean specific?
I just have a particular taste. It's not necessarily just, one or two artists I enjoy. I have to just love the song, and so I add it to my playlist. But I have this
Okay.
specific taste. And I don't know how to explain it. It just has to hit the ear right, and then the
Okay.
songwriting has to be top tier.
Well, I will say, I think for country pop is a bit different, but country music often is like written from the heart, so to speak. It's
Yeah.
not always very positive. Sometimes it can be quite depressing. But I mean, if you're after that sort of thing, you're after that sort of thing. Clover, just before I forget, what's your favorite piece of classical music, or favorite
I don't
like
have a
genre? Or
favorite piece, but I love the German symphonies. My
okay,
top 3
right.
are German, French, and Korean. Those are my top 3.
Korean.
There are a
There's
couple
a
really good.
Korean.
There's Korean symphonies. I think Apple Music has one of those like shuffles of classical from different parts of the world, and I always
Wow.
study and focus best to German, French, and there's like one Korean one that's really good.
I had no idea. I say this as someone who's played the violin since I was 2. I had no idea there was Korean symphonies. I had no idea there were Korean. I'm sure there were Korean composers, but I've never played a Korean piece, so that's news to me.
You guys should
Okay,
playlist now.
let's get back to our fun and games. So, Gracie, what most gives Clover the ick?
Ooh, I think when people walk or talk really slow, I think it's because her mind moves so quickly that if something's too slow, she just wants to move on to the next thing. Or the sound of people chewing. That gets her.
Yep, she's right with both.
That's just weird because those two things really set me off as well. Especially the slow walking, it sometimes
The
sets me into
ADHD.
it sets me into a rage. Like, I'm not normally a rageful person, but if someone is in front of me walking really slowly, and then you go left and they sometimes wander left, and you go right and and I just get set off by that like really badly. All right, so same things reversed. Clover, what most gives go-getter the ick?
Hmm. She doesn't like to be interrupted,
No, I don't.
and she doesn't like when people are rude.
Yeah,
Which I
that's
mean, I
true.
also don't like it when people are rude,
I feel like
especially.
most people don't, but it
Yeah.
really bothers me.
Yeah.
I have a big thing on manners and
Yeah.
things like being punctual, being respectful.
I think it's our cotillion training.
Yeah.
When do people dare interrupt you?
Yeah, I think everyone gets interrupted here and there, but especially if someone's having like a passionate conversation in
Right.
social situations, but sometimes it does irritate me
Okay.
slightly.
I just really contemplated interrupting you saying it. I'm so sorry.
Okay, Gracie, what's a fact about Clover that would surprise most people? Like, what's the least known fun fact about Clover?
She enjoys French cartoons. She enjoys watching cartoons in French. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay,
I
so
do.
cartoons that were made in France, or cartoons where the sound is in
Either one.
why? How did that happen? Not why. I'm sorry. I mean, actually, how? Like, what happened?
Well, it kind of started when we were living in Haiti because we turned on the TV one day, and I don't remember where we were, and Miraculous, like Ladybug, a cat noir or something, came on and it was in French. And at the time I didn't speak French, so I had Gracie like translating it for me. And I was obsessed with it. And then when we moved back to the US, I started learning French. And so I was like, it's a great way to get a practice and it's really fun. And so still to this day, I will watch children's cartoons in French.
Oh, in the Circle France. That's a really good show on
Yeah, that's your
Netflix.
favorite. I
You like the cartoons.
I like my
better,
children's cartoons because they're easier to understand. Actually, sometimes they pitch their voices really high and it
though. Okay,
gets
we were talking
confusing.
about that the other day. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't deal with the high pitched voice. I forgot that Gracie spoke French. Now I want to ask about the difference between French and is it Creole? I
Creole,
can't
Haitian
remember.
Creole, yes.
Right. But just before I forget, I'll get off track. So, Clover, same question reversed. What's the least known fun fact about Big Sis?
Oh, this is hard. I don't know. Yeah, I feel like I don't know if it's just because I know a lot about you, or if I feel like a lot of people know things about you.
Need a hint.
I guess
Cold food, like ice cream. Like, for
this
the
may.
brain.
Oh, she's never had a brain freeze.
Okay. Have you tried to give yourself a
Mhm.
brain freeze?
Oh yeah, I used to try as a kid all the time, and I was reading an article
I was
about it
so
when I got
jealous.
older, and apparently some people can't get brain freezes because of something neurological, and it just doesn't connect properly. And so I used to try. I would drink like really cold
Mhm.
smoothies as a kid, or eat a bunch of ice cream, just trying. And I had friends like try to get me to have a brain freeze because they didn't believe it.
I
And
tried. I was so jealous.
so yeah, I'm just one of those people. I can't get a brain freeze.
Can you please make that a piece of content? I need to see a piece of content where it's you trying to give yourself a
Just like
brain.
feeding
We do
her.
like 40 parts and just be like trying different things to give Gracie a brain
Just like
freeze.
shoving ice in her mouth.
Great. I mean, look, you'll get all sorts of feedback from social media. I'm sure someone will have a way for you to get a brain freeze. How long did you spend trying to give yourself a brain? Was this a period of years? Like,
Oh yeah, like especially as a kid, because when you like go for ice cream with your friends and all of them have a brain freeze and you don't, and they notice that you don't, it first of all it becomes a challenge, and then I'm like, well, why don't I get brain freezes? And I just enjoy cold things. Like I drink a smoothie every single morning for breakfast, and I add ice to it. Like it's very cold. I just don't. It doesn't affect me in the same way.
I think I took yours because I get a brain freeze very easily. So
That is
thanks
true.
for that. Rude.
They
what?
left it
So
behind.
what? So Clover, you wanted to give yourself a brain freeze.
No, she just gets
No,
them
I just get them
easily.
all the time. Like anything
Okay,
slightly cold, and I'm gone.
that's inconvenient. Okay, all right. That's an amazing, very weird fact. Okay, I think I more like the fact that you were trying to give yourself a brain freeze. I just don't know what that would look like. Let me just circle back to the comments. So Ralph is watching. Ralph said you did an
Oh,
amazing
hi,
job
Ralph.
as Miss
Hi.
Earth Eco USA.
Thank
You and
you.
Clover will always have my continued support.
Oh.
Thank you.
Okie doke. So you guys just synchronized on that. And you
It
said it
happens
in
a lot.
exactly the same way, exactly the same inflection. Thank you. It was exactly the same way. It was really scary. Anyway, just before we move towards the final 10, how are the emotions feeling? As we said, you got about 2 months, 8 weeks, call it 9 weeks before you guys hit the pageant. Gracie for the second time in 2 years, and Clover yourself for the first time in a while, a pageant. So Gracie, how are your emotions feeling? And then Clover, what are your emotions like?
I feel prepared. I really used this past year to level up and learn as much as I could about, investigating my why I do this, why is this important to me, what can I do to be of service? And I have a good grasp on who I am, what I have to offer, and I feel very prepared for what's ahead, and I'm excited.
I'm
Nice.
excited, but a little nervous. I know that I'm prepared, but I think going into a pageant that you've never done before, it being my first team pageant, other than
Yeah.
getting my state title, and my first time doing certain areas of competition, it can definitely be a little nerve-wracking. But I know that I'm prepared and well supported. Um, but yeah, I'm a little anxious, but I think going into it knowing that you're there is gonna
Yeah.
make it feel better. Because even though we're not gonna be in the same place at the same time,
I'll be on
other
that
than
laptop
parties,
watching.
like, knowing that you're there supporting me is gonna make me feel better.
And as I do my makeup, I'll be asking what would Clover do.
Yeah. But I also think I've worked really hard this past year to become the best version of myself, and knowing that I'm going into this pageant proud of who I am with or without the crown is going to make me feel better about
Yeah,
the
Mm.
circumstances.
you're gonna crush it, kid.
Thank
Have you? Oh, actually, what nicknames do you give each other?
Oh,
you
we
so
have a
much.
lot. Um,
Oh, no.
I
What
call
is
her
it?
kid. Oh, I have my weird ones. Am I allowed to say weird
Yeah,
ones?
sure.
Okay, I call her my schmoo. Uh,
Mhm.
Growing up, when she was really little, uh, my mom used to call her Monkey Moo Moo, and it was I think it
And
stemmed from a, I don't remember what
it was
stemmed
because
from.
I was climbing over her furniture
That's
all
what
the
it
time.
was, yeah. And she was like, Clover climbs over everything. She's my little monkey, Moo Moo.
And then it became Moo. And then once we were at a Target, and she called me Moo, and the cashier was like, Moo, did I say it right? And we were like,
It's a nickname.
that's not my name. He was like, I'm so sorry.
And so I just, it morphed into something different, and now I call her Moo.
I can't believe the person thought that Moo was actually your name.
He was definitely embarrassed afterwards, but we all laughed about it. So
We were like, it's okay. We're not mad. Like,
next time you go into Starbucks, Clover, tell them that your name is Moo and see what they write. But Clover, do you have any nicknames for Gracie?
it depends. I call her my twin a lot just because people think we're twins all the time. Like, people will literally
Yeah.
come up to us and be like, are you twins? And we're like, no, we're actually like 8 years apart. And they're like, I'm so sorry. And we're like, you didn't offend us. Like, it's okay.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
we've had that
That's a
several
weird
times, people
response.
say
Like, several times,
sorry.
like, I'm so sorry. Like,
You didn't do anything wrong. It's okay. But yeah, and
yeah.
you call me Gigi sometimes.
Yeah.
I call you Clo. You know,
You have a lot of nicknames for me.
normal-esque nicknames.
I still think Moo is the one that's going to stick with me, just because the person actually thought your name was Moo. It's like, no, my name ain't Moo, but thanks for asking. Okay, so just before we get to the final 10, anyone that you two would like to give a shout out to, whether joint shout outs or individual shout outs?
You want to go first? You want to just do it together and just shout out names?
Just give me someone, I'll say, like, yes, I also.
Well, first and foremost, to, of course, our family,
Yeah.
our mom, dad, grandparents, everyone in our family, because they're so supportive of what we do and have been there every step of the way.
My mom for doing so much pageant prep with me when I bug her too.
My coach Jules from PR Pageant Coaches.
Me too.
Let's see. Oh, Ralph, if you're still watching, we appreciate all of your support and commenting on our videos. We really appreciate it, and it gives us a little bit of motivation to keep creating. Let's see, who else?
Brittany Askew,
Mhm.
my coaches. She's the best. She's so sweet.
Of course, the Miss Earth USA organization, Elizabeth Crone, who has the pageant lab. I adore her, and I recently started working with her. She's awesome. And you know, all of our sponsors. We're just grateful for everyone who's come
So much.
along with
Yeah.
us for our journey.
Yeah.
It was just going to be so awkward, Gracie, if you mentioned someone you want to give a shout out to, and Clover there goes, no, I don't want to
No.
thank that person.
No.
No, just no, hard no. Okay. All
I'd
right.
like to reverse
Now,
that.
yeah. Now we have a tradition to finish every interview with the same 10 questions. Why not for fun and just because it will keep me entertained? I'm going to get you to answer for the other one. So we're going to have a continuation
Okay.
of our little game from before. We'll finish the same. So final 10 questions, but you have to answer for your sibling. All right. And then sibling
Okay.
will confirm,
You go first?
yes,
Yeah.
no,
Okay, you
or
go first.
maybe so. All right. So
Love
the
it.
first one, what is your favorite word? So if Clover's going first, what is Gracie's favorite word?
Pugnacious. At least it used to be. I don't know if it still is, but
It's just fun to say. So I do say it's my favorite word, even though I'm not pugnacious. I'm not combative, but I just think it's fun to say.
Oh my God. All right. Gracie, same question, reverse.
Let's see. Clover's favorite word. I gotta think. We talk so much together.
And it could be that she doesn't have a favorite one, because for some people they just don't have one.
I don't know that she has a favorite word, but if I could, turn it into something a little different and be a word that I would use to describe Clover, maybe I would say brave.
Sure. Okay.
I don't really have a favorite word, but if I had to choose one, I'd probably be wonderful.
Oh, you know what? That
I say
keep trying to it's
wonderful so much.
We do say that on the daily, probably 10 times a day.
All right.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Wonderful.
There you go. Pugnacious. I haven't heard before. All right. So Clover, what is Gracie's least favorite word?
Ooh. Maybe moist. I don't know.
Moist.
Maybe. I don't know. It just seems like a dislike. Like nobody likes that word. Nobody's gonna choose that as their favorite word. I don't.
No. Some people do because they're deliberately obtuse. So because 99% of people hate it, they choose to use that word every chance they get. So there are some
That's
people
so
who love
funny.
the word moist.
You just
But
don't dislike anything enough. Like you.
You're not wrong. I don't really have a least favorite word.
okay, well there you go. You got the answer right then. All right.
Yeah,
Well then,
yeah, that counts. Point.
yeah. Gracie, same question, reversed.
I think Clover's least favorite word would probably be like a filler word of an or something that's just
Like.
unnecessary. Yeah, like
Unless it's being like
in similarity
like
to
something.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just to
Yeah,
say
okay.
like to say like it does is a pet peeve, I think.
And rug.
Rug?
Mhm.
Oh, I did not know that
I don't
one.
know. I think it's just because our mother talks about rugs a lot, and so I just hear it so much.
You're like, I'm done with it. That's
Okay,
so
so
funny. I did not know that.
the one thing Clover will not be doing then is opening a rug store. You can't sell things when you can't name the product that you're selling. But again, like if you don't like the word like, Clover, you can't speak to anyone who's your own age, just from my experience. I know people who are Gracie's age, every second word is like. I don't know if it's an Australian thing, an American thing, or an age thing, but every second
Probably
word
all of the
is
above.
like. Anyway, all right. Clover, number 3. So where are we? Number 3 in life. So what gets Gracie excited in life?
Calling herself a go-getter. Or me.
Have to just get that in there.
She's a very determined person. She just wants to make the world a better place, and I really am inspired by that. But I also think it's me.
Oh yeah. You're my
Because,
driving force.
yeah, because who wouldn't want to wake up and just see my beautiful face every day?
What, she doesn't wake up and then you're standing over her staring down at her. That would
No, it's
be.
usually the reverse. Like when I'm
No.
home, like sometimes I'll just like sneak into a room and I'll just be like, "Good morning," and she's like, "Why are you in here?"
You got to be careful doing that because my mum used to do that when I was a lot younger, obviously. And I told her, you have to stop doing that because sometimes I have a bad reaction when in the first thing in the morning. And one time she didn't listen to me, and one time she did that, and I punched her in the face. Just
She's never done
It
that.
was-
Luckily,
No.
she's very sweet when she first wakes up.
I got so mad once though because she came in my room around her birthday, and I was making her like a finger knit blanket for her birthday. And I was like, "Babe!" I'm sorry. I was like, "Run!"
run. Suddenly, that doesn't sound so nice compared to everything we've been talking about. Get out! Jeez, all right. All right. So, Gracie, what gets Clover excited in life?
Probably when people say that she can't do something,
Mhm.
she loves to just prove that wrong and prove I can do anything. I can put my mind to, and even though I'm young, I'm gonna make it happen.
Okay, sounds good. Now, normally the next question is, I've already asked you the next question. It's like, what turns you off? But we'll say, because I asked you what gives you the ick, we've already done that. So let's skip across to question 5. So, Clover, what is Gracie's favorite sound or noise?
Ooh. I know. I mean, music. Of course, she loves music. I want to say acoustic guitar, but I don't know if that's wrong. But you also like nature sounds, like waves and things like
I
that.
do. I do. That was a good answer because I would have said both. And if it's not acoustic guitar, I do love listening to the cello. So either.
Okay, all right. Gracie, same question
I would
reversed.
definitely music for Clover. She's always got headphones in, getting in the zone.
There's something else too. Let's see if you can
There's
name
something
it.
else too.
It's my middle name.
Oh, the rain. Yeah, she loves it when it's raining outside. Just those days where you bundle up and watch movies.
It was raining on my scuba dive certification trip.
Was it really?
It was pouring raining on the second day. They had to postpone it.
Oh my god. Oh, I forgot about that.
Mhm.
Yeah, Mom did tell me that. I forgot.
Hang on, you have to postpone scuba diving because it's raining?
They had to push it back by 15 minutes until the rain lessened because it was like super windy, super choppy.
Right,
We
okay.
did still go out in the rain,
Yeah.
but
It was less harsh.
It was just less harsh because otherwise the seas were super rough. And on the first day, someone who's taking it got seasick because of the like current underwater, and they were like, "We don't need a
Mm,
repeat of that."
That makes sense.
yeah. Seasickness is not pleasant. I've been there, done
No.
that. Clover, what sound or noise does Big Sister hate or dislike? What's her least favorite sound or noise?
Nails on a chalkboard or squishy sounds.
That's so true.
Like slime squishing or like squishy chewing, like things like that. Like
Squish.
anything that like squishes, she doesn't like.
That's true. I
So
probably
basically
wouldn't have said that about
ASMR.
myself, but yeah, I she got into that for a while when she was younger, and I
Ah.
was like, "Can you please go get headphones? I can't listen to that. I'm gonna be sick." I did not enjoy it whatsoever.
You know, there's whole videos of this on YouTube because I've interviewed a few people who are really into ASMR and they keep talking about slime videos. And I was like, what are you guys talking about? Then I went and watched it and I regret it. It's just like, you know, that
It's the worst.
squelchy,
I
the squelchy
don't
farty
do it.
noise. And I don't like,
I don't
this
I
soothes
don't
you.
like the
Okay.
sound.
Yeah.
I don't like the sound of slime, but the texture can be good if
Yeah.
it's done properly. I got into the 2016 slime phase as a child, so I got really into it for a minute, but
You got pretty good at making it, so.
I ruined so many clothes with it. I tried all of those things in Haiti where it's like shampoo and salt because we didn't have like borax in Haiti.
Right.
Like, and Mom got so mad because I was like, "Can I use your contact solution?" She's like, "You're not using my contact solution.
We have to ship
Fake
that
slime."
from the US.
Hang on. So you ruined clothes with slime. Like, what
Wait,
happened?
didn't we make that video of me making slime
We
in
did make a
Haiti?
video of you making slime, actually.
Yeah,
You had to
it's
throw away
just
that
like
outfit.
yeah.
Or
Sometimes I would
you
just
didn't
like
throw it away, but you turned it into a
accidentally
bag, I think, is what you
yeah
did.
because I would like tip. Sometimes it would tip over and get stuck to the clothes, and then you can't get it out. I got good because if you put ice on it, it helps.
Yeah, when you learned that, everything
Yeah.
turned around. But
But
there was some
I
stained
had to
clothes for a while.
I would stain so many clothes. I turned them into. I made a stuffed animal with a
Oh, yeah.
dress,
You made blankets for your
bags and stuff like
dolls.
that.
You did a
Yeah.
lot of fun crafts with it. So at least they were repurposed, right?
Wow. I've never learned so much about slime. I just remember I used to give it out to the kids at tennis camp. They loved slime, and you know, they take it away. And their parents one day came up to me and said, "Can you stop giving out slime because they bring it home and they're like, our carpet is full of slime." I was like, "Well, it's not my problem. As long as it's not here, I don't care." All right. So Gracie, what is Clover's least favorite sound?
Okay, people chewing, but also super duper crowded rooms where there's too many
Mm.
conversations going on
I
at
think
once.
there's one or two more. I don't know if we're gonna get it.
You hate chewing.
Markers screeching on
Oh,
a whiteboard.
Yes.
The when you're writing.
Yep. And
Ow.
maybe tapping of a keyboard with long nails.
Just keyboard typing in general, and I think it's because you, mom, and dad both do it all the time, and so sometimes they'll all overlap, and then you just hear like so much typing. It's a lot, but sometimes it's good at ASMR, I guess. So.
It's funny. In that case, I should send you guys a mechanical keyboard because that's what I have here. And I literally got that because it makes that clack sound. I miss a typewriter sound. So if I got everyone in your household like mechanical keyboards, Clover, that would be not good for you.
I like the sound of keyboards when I'm the one typing, but when other people are typing and I'm not in control of the typing, I don't like it.
I think Clover would have a problem if you sent one to all of us.
The old like Dell computer keyboard.
Wow, that takes me back. Okay, number 7. So Clover, if Gracie could attempt any one career other than her own, what would it be?
I don't know if this is me for you, but I would want you to be a figure skater.
A figure skater?
I do. I tried to coach her in figure skating for a long time, actually. I was very good at it. I taught her a waltz jump and everything. What's funnier is I can't ice skate to save my life. I'm terrible at it, but she's so good at it. And so I was like, you just got ice skates for Christmas. Like, let's go have fun.
It was a lot of fun.
And let's put you in the Olympics. And so I took her.
Let's put you in the Olympics.
So I literally spent all night and all day making a book, like a binder of how to teach people figure skating, and I took it to the ice rink, and I'm like holding onto the wall and like crawling over because I can't ice skate to save my life. Like there are literal 3-year-olds better than me, just skating around me in circles. And I'm like, okay, you're gonna go to this corner. I'm gonna anchor myself here so I can help you, and I'm gonna teach you this and this and this. And I was actually very good figure skating coach.
You were a good coach. Yeah, you're a good teacher,
especially for someone who can't ice skate. So
that requires extra skill, actually.
That's so ADHD. Everything you just described. I became a tennis coach and I couldn't play tennis to save my life, but I learned it and I taught myself. But I just have now this image of Gracie in the middle of an ice rink and then someone asking her, wow, you're really good. Where's your coach? Who's your coach? And then pointing over to Clover, whose face planted on the floor for the billionth time. That's splat.
And then she's like,
your coach?
I almost broke my pinky ice skating once.
Yeah, you did.
But you know what? You got the jump, so it was worth it.
It was.
It was worth it.
That whole story is so weird, but it's also so ADHD. It's hilarious. All right. So Gracie, same question reversed. If younger sister could have any one occupation other than what she's already intending to do, what do you think it would be?
I don't know if this counts, but if you had to be something other than a marine biologist, I would say a makeup artist. I know you're getting a makeup certification, so you're, most of the way there. But I would say that would definitely be an alternate career path because you're quite talented at it.
Thank you.
Okay, well, looks like we got that one right. All right, so moving on to the next question. Now, I forgot this one, so I've got to go back to it. Clover, if Gracie could have any one superpower, what would it be and why?
I feel like this would be very helpful if she could, grow plants and flowers and things. That would be very helpful for her career. You just sprout them up everywhere. She's like, oh, I'm done. Okay, just water it. But
I'm done, just water it.
She's like, go get her.
You see my job?
No, but I'm saying it would be so much easier if you could do that. If you could just be like, here you
go. Water it.
Take care.
I'll be back to regrow it if you kill it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's so funny. I was not expecting that.
Well, Gracie, what would you say?
For myself or for Clover?
Yeah, for yourself.
For myself, I probably would have said something like being able to speed up time or something, because I always feel like there's not enough hours in the day to do everything I want to do in a day. But that could just be being a workaholic.
I like mine.
Okay.
Yeah, yours was cooler.
Yours was funnier. I think Gracie's was perhaps more expected. But Gracie, same question reverse. So if younger sister could have any one superpower, what would she pick and why?
We were talking about this the other day, so I don't know if it's changed in the last 48 hours, but selective mind reading. Like she could, she doesn't want to read people's minds all the time. Just when she needs to, when she needs to figure something out, or when she wants to know, what someone else is thinking. And I think we were saying it would be really helpful in pageant interview if you could know what the judges were thinking, and you could figure out what information else that they wanted. And
I'm not always the best at reading faces, so to be able to
read minds would be easier.
Yeah. Or water manipulation.
I was gonna say that. I was gonna say if it wasn't that, it was gonna be manipulating water.
You mean like Moses style, parting the seven seas?
She'd be great at it. She's ready. She's already friends with the sharks.
I remember we would watch the H2O mermaid show or something, and the girl could
just make water.
Yeah, she could just make water and manipulate water. And I was like, that's the coolest thing. That's I would
Maybe
do
that'd
that.
be helpful in your career too.
Yeah. Could you imagine if you didn't have to drink water? You could just boop, hydrated.
I guess that would be useful.
It would. Okay, so now I ask you about dream career, or what's another career that you'd like to choose. So Clover, what's a career option that Gracie would never like to pursue? What's a job she would never like to attempt?
A barista. I don't know where that came from. I just fully believe that you would hate it.
I don't think I would enjoy that either.
Or see, I was gonna say a carpenter, but then I remembered how much we would build stuff in Haiti, and I feel like we'd be really good at it.
I do enjoy building things.
Yeah, I built that chair.
You did.
That was a good chair.
Alternate career path number 3 for you.
But why would Gracie? Why would you not want to be a barista?
Probably because I don't drink coffee.
And you'd have to deal with rude people, the rude customers and
that's
things
true,
like that.
and rude people is one of my pet peeves.
So that's I was thinking ahead.
maybe I'd write little inspiring things on all the cups.
Well, that girl at Starbucks
Oh.
did that. That's so
That you were
sweet.
going to say, I'm going to write little rude words or insults on people's cups. So like, okay, I guess.
No,
No,
she's too
no.
nice.
Exactly. All right, Gracie, same question in reverse. So what's a job that little sister would definitely not like to attempt?
Probably working at an aquarium to clean the aquarium. Like she'd want to deal with the animals and feed them and rehabilitate them, but I don't think she'd want to clean up after them. I don't think she'd enjoy that. It's that sensory issue of the smells, the textures that would not be
Oh, or a teacher.
Or yeah. Well, you're a great ice skating teacher, so I
Because-
feel like you could do it.
Because or like a young kid teacher.
Like
because-
kindergarten.
Because kids like me, and I'm very nice to kids, but I get irritated kind of quickly. And I think because of like the ADHD and having known so much at a young age, I was like, can you grow up just like a little bit and like have a conversation, and then like I can teach you better. And I feel like I couldn't say that to people's kids. So
Like very small children. She'd be great
Yeah.
with like middle school
Yeah.
age.
Yeah.
I just need
Um,
you to have like a little bit more coherence, and we can have like a full conversation.
And we also think she was the kid who was reading at 3 years old, full
Yeah.
books. So she was always ahead of the curve in that regard.
Like kids can be really sweet and cute, but like
If you want to get a point across.
if I want to get a point
you wanna
across,
be
I'm
able to
worried that
move on.
that they're gonna be like, what does this word mean? And I'm like, I don't know. Like I know, but I don't know how to explain it.
I know, but go find out yourself. I think Gracie put up a question on her story like months back about young people or something, because I think I told Gracie that when I was 5, my parents sent me on a flight around the world, and it wasn't a non-stop flight, so I had to do an international changeover at an airport at the age of 5. And this was before the age of mobile phones, so I needed to go and find where my gate was, look at a board, go, okay, that's my flight, let me go there. And this was also before young kids would get like stewardesses assigned to them to take care of them. And I did all that. It was a bit stressful, let's put it that way, but you do what you got to do. It's not that difficult. You know, you read the board, go there.
Yeah.
And then working with kids, I would have like 8-year-olds come up to me, stick their foot out and say, can you tie my shoelaces up for me? And I'd be like, no, you do that yourself. So I do
They'll
again
fly around the world and
understand.
come back.
Well, I do understand where you're coming from. It can be a bit.
Yeah.
I do. People who can work with young kids and love doing it, I envy them, but I also don't really understand it because I don't know where they get that.
I respect
patience
it
from.
for sure.
That's what I mean. Yeah, it's not an easy job, and it is very important. Obviously,
I volunteered at our library for a while with
Mhm.
kids,
Yeah,
and
you were great at that.
it was great when I got to like help them find a book and things like
Yeah.
that.
But answering
Yeah.
too many questions.
Answering too many questions got me a little anxious for sure.
Yeah.
But it's funny because you can be good at something and not enjoy it. Those
Yeah.
two things are very, very different. Like you could be great with kids and not want to work with them. So I can
Mhm.
certainly understand that. Okay, we'll get to the final question, but this one I'll get you to answer for yourselves. So the question is, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates? And Gracie, why don't I get you to go first on this one?
I'd love to hear that all the people that I've helped along the way in my life were waiting for me so I could see them again. Especially with Harvest 107, I personally know pretty much everyone that we've worked with. Like, I know their names, I care about their families. And so to know that I had them back in my afterlife would be a really beautiful full circle moment.
Nice.
Yeah.
Clover, that's a tough act to follow. Yourself?
You've accomplished everything that was set out for you,
Oh, that was good.
and all of your childhood pets are waiting for you.
Oh, even better. I like that.
How many childhood pets are we talking about?
Like 3 dogs. I think Simon was my favorite dog. He was my best friend. So I
And the
want
goats.
the goats. Yeah,
We had 2
Pepper.
goats.
Prim,
Prim and
Proper,
Proper.
and then Pepper.
Yeah, but we don't know where he went because he was stolen.
Yeah.
If he's waiting there, that'd be great. All 3 goats.
Yeah, someone stole a goat from us.
How do you steal a goat?
Oh, he would
It's
like
quite
go
big,
outside. It was in Haiti, and so
Yeah.
we would let him out to go graze with the other goats to socialize because at that point we didn't have prim and proper anymore. And so he would just go out and wander and come back. And one day he was just snatched up.
Wow, that's sad.
Mhm.
Is it true what they say about goats? It's ironic you call them prim and proper. Don't they just eat everything?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
Mhm.
But they're really fun. They're kind of like dogs.
Ours would go into our kitchen and like dance, almost like they would get up on their back legs and like dance for tortilla chips.
Goats?
Yep.
Like not little, like full grown adult goats on their back legs.
They were pretty small, but
They
yeah,
were pretty small
they
for
were
goats
small
because
for
they were in
goats.
Haiti, but yeah, they would dance for chips.
They would dance for chips.
Yeah.
It was really funny, honestly. They have great personalities.
I feel like I did something I need to look up on YouTube when we're done here. It's like dancing goats.
I'll find a video.
Thank you for that. Okay, well, we've been on for a minute, so it's been fun having you both on at the same time. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you so much for your time, and best of luck in 8 to 9 weeks' time.
Thank
you.
you. Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah,
This was
absolutely.
fun.
You just synchronized again on the thank you. And it's
We'll work on it.
I don't know if you guys have noticed this, it's the exact same inflection as well. It's
Yeah.
like,
People
thank
confuse us
you.
on the phone, so maybe that's why.
There's
That's
photos of us
probably-
moving our head at the same time. Yeah.
Probably also because Clover spends her time impersonating you. So I think Gracie, you need to
I need to
work
work
on
on
your
my Clover.
Clover impersonation. Exactly. All right, I'll keep you on the line for just a sec whilst I hang out with the audience. But thanks to everyone for watching, and we will speak to you next time. Bye for now. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Sorority Access is now open. So if you'd like to join an amazing group of women and learn how to be the most powerful, confident, and impactful queen possible, head to thepageantsorority.com. I'll see you there and see you in the next video.